following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
I'm really not into dreams. I'm into fucking nightmares. I want better fucking execution. Knock on wood if you're with me.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
The absolute worst!
All right, well, first off, guys, I want to say that the first week of training camp is over.
The first week of training camp is in the books, man.
So, congratulations on that.
1 week is down.
And let's take a minute. Let's take a minute and congratulate each other on starting the second week of training camp.
All right, like everybody just stand up, welcome each other to the second week of training camp, man. All right, second week of training camp.
And then I want to see some fucking execution tonight. I want fucking execution.
I want better fucking execution.
And if you're with me, knock on wood.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
All right.
So, yeah. I just want to say that I think Hard Knocks is... I've only seen the first episode and a half, but so far, I think it's everything that we'd hoped it would be.
Greg, do you have dreams?
No, dude, I have fucking nightmares.
I'm really not into dreams. I'm into fucking nightmares.
Good.
I'm done with dreams. I'm done with dreams. Just nightmares from here on out.
I fucking love how rah-rah it is. Because, like, I wanted to see a John Gruden who seemed woefully out of time. And I feel like I've gotten that.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
He's acting like he's a fucking college coach.
It's been amazing. And I've still got probably half of the second episode to get through yet. And already, it's been everything I could have hoped it would be. He is so completely... I think it cracked me up the most when he talked about how the Rams made the Super Bowl last year because they just decided they wanted to, I guess.
The Rams were a bad football team 2 years ago. Where were they last year? They were in a Super Bowl. They put their mind into it. They put their heart into it. They believed in it, and they got there.
Obviously, the season before, the Rams didn't want to go to the Super Bowl.
No.
But then last season, they said, hey, guys, maybe we should go to the Super Bowl. That might be fun.
The NFC
and then they decided to do it, and they did it.
Right. They bought in, and that's all the Raiders need to do. Never mind the fact that the Rams have a much better coaching staff, much more talent, much more everything, but the only difference is whether you have the desire or not.
It's too bad Hard Knocks is always, like a week behind, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can't wait for the next episode already just because I need to see if they talk to Antonio Brown about this nonsense.
Oh, the helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have video of him, sneaking in the hand-painted helmet he made?
God.
What is even going on with this? The Raiders might become my new favorite team, guys. I'm just going to...
Have you picked up your stabbing knife?
Oh, boy. It's just been amazing. And speaking of Antonio Brown, what is up with that dude's feet? What happened there?
He... those cryogenic, chambers that are trendy now? He apparently just wore the wrong footwear in one of those things.
Oh, jeez.
And so he got frostbite on the bottom of his feet.
Oh, so that's what that is?
Yeah.
Wow. Because when he took his shoes off and I was like, whoa, you can't play and run on feet like that. I mean, that's got to hurt just to walk. God. So, yeah, that's typical Raiders, though, right? That they get one of the best receivers in football, and he doesn't get a normal injury. This is what happens to him. His feet are
he gets something not only that, but he's also refusing to play unless they let him use his own helmet, which has been banned.
Yeah, Brady went through that last year. I mean, he didn't go nearly to the extent that Antonio Brown's gone to, but he went through that last year where his helmet was no longer legal, and he had a little fit about it. And I think he ended up going with something new, but yeah. So it's just been fantastic so far. It's just amazing. And I don't think they're going to be any good.
Obviously, no.
What about in the first episode, that dude that they drafted from that show, Last Chance U, or the university? Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
Of course, John Gruden drafted a guy from Last Chance U.
And I thought it was going to turn into a storyline where they were going to let him roll for a couple of weeks and finally it would be some heartbreaking cut. Nope, they cut that dude loose in like the first 15 minutes. And I thought, how just completely uninvested in this do you have to be to get cut like the second day of camp? Because that's basically what happened to him.
How bad do you have to be to get cut by John Gruden? Nathan Peterman hasn't been cut yet.
Oh, and the Nathan Peterman thing was, oh my goodness. He's too nice, and it was too much.
He's the perfect human being, Greg.
Well, I think maybe the problem, John Gruden, might not be that he's too nice. The power of Christ compels him. I think the problem with Nathan Peterman might be he's just not very good.
He's
that
just
might
kind
be
of
the
a
issue.
shitty quarterback.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's necessarily a thing because he's too nice or
what do you mean? Like, quarterbacks don't need to be nice or mean or anything. They just need to be quarterbacks.
Right, they just need to good. Throw the fucking ball.
Mean.
Yeah.
You think Peyton Manning was an angry guy? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's not angry enough. That's his problem. That's what I mean. The coaching has just been fantastic. We've got the Rams made the Super Bowl because they decided they wanted to. Nathan Peterman's problem isn't that he's terrible. It's that he's too nice. If he were meaner, he'd be a good quarterback. And I thought, man, they're paying $100 million for this.
That was obviously the problem in Buffalo, right? He'd be dropping back to pass. And then he'd be like, I could make the completion, but that wouldn't be nice to the defender. So I don't
want to be mean to the Chargers defense. So I'm going to throw them a bunch of interceptions because I just feel bad for them.
Exactly.
He wanted to give all a gift.
He wanted what?
To give all the Chargers a gift.
Yeah. And well, they certainly got that. Yeah. It's just been amazing. Just wow, what a mess.
Peter's too nice, Jesus.
$100 million they're paying this guy to say shit like that. And I've not seen the entire second episode, but I haven't seen him do what I would call any coaching so far.
I mean, he's yelled a lot.
Yeah, he's yelled a lot and he's said stuff, but none of it that I could see would improve a team or make a team worse.
Well, no, because John Gruden is exactly what we thought he is. He's like 12, 15 years out of date. Like, the dude doesn't know that, the dude obviously is not aware of what it takes to actually win in the NFL. Presently, all he knows is basically what he left with, which is, you got to be essentially be a cheerleader, more or less.
Well, it's kind of. I worked in radio for a long time, and then I left in 2000, so I have not worked in radio in 19 years. Mm-hmm. I could probably walk into a radio studio and have a basic idea of how it still works, but everything that I knew back in 2000 is completely irrelevant today. Even though I still follow the industry and I still do all that stuff like he did, being outside the game, but unless you're there and participating in it, it's going to shoot right past you. I think that's exactly what's happened with him.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. In any professions like that, you always have to – even when you're in it, you have to keep up to date.
Right.
And, like, when I'm watching Hard Knocks, I just see that, John Gruden is the type of coach – who he's coaching like it's still 2000.
Yeah,
he's not doing anything that you think this is how the Rams are. You think this is how the Rams are running their training camp? No.
Well, but clearly, Mike, the Rams wanted it, and that's why. Nobody else. The Rams and the Patriots wanted to make the Super Bowl last year. No one else did. Mm-hmm. Or else it would have been just a cluster of teams all trying to play in the same game. I did not know, though. I did learn something. I did not know that John Gruden had a Sean McVay connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, did he share an elevator with him one time? Or?
No, he actually was on his staff at one point.
Oh, okay.
And McVay was like an intern with the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to see how this is relevant because I didn't see very much Sean McVay style coaching from. I didn't see anything resembling modern coaching.
But here's the thing. Yeah, This is a reverse Sean McVay effect, right? It's not like he got hired because he had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay. But when you watch and listen to Sean McVay, he has Grudenisms all throughout the way he does everything. Yeah. He doesn't have the same mind, obviously, but the way that he talks and the way that he kind of directs things, he has a very Gruden-esque tone and direction.
But he's also up to speed on the game and the way it's played today and the way things are done. And well, in the first episode, Gruden was complaining because the players' union and all that, they changed the practice rules. And right out of the gate, he's bitching that he can't make these guys practice in pads 3 times a day. He was going to, I forget what he said, he was going to get investigated or something, or incarcerated is what he said. And it's just like, how did you not know this coming in? That this is the way it is now. And I don't know, it's just going to be something. It's going to be really something.
Well, the funny thing is like this isn't even his first season back. He's been back for a full year.
Yeah.
And so you figure he would have figured that he would have gotten over that last year.
Well, all I know is I don't see anything that makes me think, what were they, 4-12 last year? Mm-hmm. I don't know what would make anybody think they're going to be any better than that this year. I mean, they got Antonio Brown. Okay, that's great. And that'll probably help a little bit if he can play. But with those feet the way they are, I don't know what you do to fix that. I guess.
Don't even know if he's going to play or not because, the helmet.
Well, right, and then the helmet thing. I always forget about that. But
he was talking a big game about retiring or whatever. But I think he showed up to practice one of the last few days.
Brown.
He was actually talking retirement over the stupid helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
That was
Antonio Brown retiring.
What's his reasoning for is it because the helmet's more comfortable, or what's the story?
His deal is that this is the same helmet he wore for the last 10 years with the Steelers. And his thing was that, according to him, the new helmets, they have these protrusions.
Oh, right. It mess up his peripheral vision, yeah.
Right. And he's just so used to the vision that he gets out of the previous helmet that he wanted to keep it. But the problem is the NFL just last year made it, because they're trying to help the concussion problem. So they made a list of helmets that they were going to deem not fit for use anymore. And last year there was a grandfather year. So all these guys there were 32 guys that were wearing illegal helmets last year, and they were grandfathered in like, okay, just so you 32 guys know, you have to fix this before next year because you can't wear this helmet after next year. And like Tom Brady wears the same exact helmet, and he complained, but he also knew that he wanted to keep playing football, so just changed the damn helmet and moved on. But Antonio Brown was literally threatening his career over wearing this helmet or not. And either way, according to I think it was the NFLPA or the people that the NFLPA uses to check the helmets and stuff, even they said, like, even if you had a helmet that was legal, after 10 years, we would tell you to get a new helmet because it wouldn't pass inspection after 10 years of use. So.
Wow. That's a strange hill to die on to me. But I'd almost respect it if it was an aesthetic thing. Like, look, this new helmet just is ugly, and I like my other one better. I'd be like, hey, I can get behind that.
Yeah, but he literally...
I just like that he had it, like, painted himself. Like,
yeah, he literally took the helmet home and tried to mimic the Raiders paint. But because it's, a football helmet paint, so it's got that sparkle to it and all that, it was just like a flat gray. And they're like, yeah, no, we see what you're doing, Antonio, and you can't wear that.
Well, a lot of guys do carry the equipment people, they can paint helmets and all that, and they will do that, like with a legal helmet. Like, they like the one they've got. They don't want to switch, so they bring it to the new team, and the team will paint it and decal it up and all that. But I don't know that you can get the proper materials on your own to make an NFL helmet as far as painting and stuff goes. I think that it's a special kind of paint, like you said, and you got to kind of know what you're doing. And I'm going to guess that Antonio Brown, probably the last thing he needs to be concerned about is painting his own helmet. But okay, whatever he wants to do.
By the way, Deadspin has a hilarious article, I can only assume is satire, called it Why Antonio Brown Needs His Helmet.
Oh, I got to see this.
Yeah, I'll link it to you guys. Where the hell's the chat? There we go. There you go. The American football helmet is a complex piece of equipment. It is both a shield and a sword, and it fits your head like a gauntlet. When you slide it on, you know you're at work. You know that it's just you out there enclosed in a bubble. The manner in which you view your head, once precious, to be protected, vulnerable to cracking, changes. It can withstand punishment. It is a fortress. It is a weapon. Oh, God. No, seriously. This Hard Knocks this year might just make me a Raiders fan. Like, I might just be like, I want to follow this team, not because I expect them to win. I just want to follow the story.
So, seriously, I know we've got a couple weeks yet before we do an actual NFL preview, but I don't see these guys maybe 6-10 at best, right? I mean, what do they have? You got Derek Carr, who's decent. Antonio Brown, if he's healthy and will play, if he can find a helmet he likes. And what? They traded one of the best defensive players in the league last year. I don't know. I don't see any big changes. Like with the Browns, you can kind of see it coming. You're going, wow, they're really loading up with talent last year on Hard Knocks. This year, it's like, it looks like the same old team to me. So I don't know. I'm guessing 6-10 at best for these guys.
Yeah, I don't know, between 4 and 6 wins.
Yeah. Well, speaking of preseason football, so did anybody watch any this week? I know I did.
I did not. I saw some, like kind of on the TV, going out to eat and whatnot, but I did not I've not actually committed myself to sitting down and watching preseason.
I watched my Cleveland Browns put an ass beating on the Washington Redskins. It was fun. Our third stringers were really something, let me tell you.
Might I remind you that the year the Browns went 0-16, they went undefeated in the preseason.
I know, but I did want to see the first team offense play, and look, it's the preseason, and you can't tell anything, obviously, but they're pretty loaded. They're very talented. I mean, they're deep. They're going to be pretty good, I think. So it was kind of nice, but the uniforms are still, oh God. Why does this happen to me? One of my teams gets good and they do it in the ugliest uniforms they've ever worn. Why does that happen?
It's all right. They're going to be fixing it next year, so.
I mean, at least the Indians they've really never done anything too stupid with the uniforms. They've always been okay. Other than back in the 70s when they wore that all red abomination. But other than that, they've stayed pretty true to form. But the Browns and the Cavs, forget it. Just unbelievable. But yeah, I watched all the Browns, and then I watched a little bit of, who was it? Was it Rams Raiders maybe? I don't remember.
Oh, why?
It was on. I was flipping through channels. I'm like, usually I tune in to see the uniforms mostly.
Hell, even I didn't watch Rams Raiders. Do you want to know why?
Well, because it's pointless.
Because the Rams starting quarterback was Blake Bortles.
But Bortles facts.
Yeah.
Zach, think about it.
He's going to start all the preseason games. That's my fact.
Well, but think about it. With him in L.A. now, Bortles Facts has got a much bigger platform to work from. This is good for us. It'll be great.
No, he has. He'll have more games played in the NFC West than Tom Brady.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Rams are doing the thing where they're not playing anybody. Again. I would be surprised if any of the major guys got preseason reps.
Well, that's probably smart.
Yeah, I mean, it worked last year, right?
Yeah.
So why screw up?
Well, no, the reason it worked last year is because they wanted to go to the Super Bowl.
Right. Well, they had all that time to think about wanting to go.
Right.
That's true, yeah.
Games. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. I don't know when or who, but we're going to lose someone. A big name in the preseason to an injury. Probably 2 or 3 people, honestly.
Odell Beckham Jr. There you go.
Don't even say that in jest anymore. That's just that can't happen. But it probably will. Well, that's my concern too. Is like with the Browns. They're stacked, but there's a couple positions where like if Baker Mayfield goes down, forget it. I don't even know who's behind him now. It's what's his name, Drew Stanton. So yeah, you don't want to hang your hat on that. But I don't know. What do you do about the preseason, though? I mean, you got to practice, but, I don't know what you get out of it, really. I mean, you get to see bad players in game situations, I guess, if you're the coaching staff. But other than that, I don't blame the Rams for not playing any of their starters because you don't want to lose Gurley or Goff or anybody.
Right. Well, and I think the only reason you would play the starters is to make sure that they get in rhythm. But I think what Sean McVay said last year, and I kind of agree with it, is like you're going to get in rhythm in practice, first off. Like if you're not doing well in practice, it's not going to translate to the game. And then when you do get in the games, like, yeah, in the NFL, every game is important. But like if you lose the first 2 or 3, or say you take the preseason out of it, you lose the first 4, but then you win, 10 of the next 12. You're going 10-6, and you're still making the playoffs probably. And that's at the very least. So I think the idea is just like you want to keep the guys healthy, but you also want to be able to evaluate the rest of the roster because you're not going to get the same amount of reps with these second and third string guys.
Well,
the starters know the offense.
Right, and I got to think that most coaching staffs at this point already know. I mean, really, you've got, 70, 80 guys. I don't know what they start out at the first week, but, I mean, really, they already know pretty much, probably down to within 10 of who's going to make the team the minute training camp starts. It's not like you're going to go, wow, this, Blake Bortles is better than Jared Goff. Cut Goff, let's keep Bortles. That's not going to happen, and we all know it. And you've got money involved in contracts and stuff, so really – The preseason is basically for the guys that are playing for the 5 to 10 spots that might realistically be open on any team, and that's what you boil it down to. So why risk it? I'm trying to think back. There have been players I know that we've lost, like big name players, for the whole season in a stupid preseason game. Yeah, and I know with the Browns, I think that the first string offense played one series and that was it. They were out, and hopefully that's you just don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, and I saw that series. They came out with like a 2-minute drill and just went and did it, which is like, okay, yeah. And I love hearing the reasoning for that, where it's like, yeah, you can run a 2-minute drill in practice, but you're never in preseason games because of the way things are structured. The starters aren't going to get that 2-minute drill practice against another team.
No,
because they're never going to be in that situation, really.
No.
So yeah, come out and do it right out of the gate. Well, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I mean, it was entertaining for everybody in the stadium, I'm sure, because
it was great.
They marched down the field, scored a touchdown, and then they were out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reluctant to get fully on board with it because they're a young team, and you got to stay healthy and all that. But as far as the talent goes, they are really, really, really stacked. I mean, they've got it top to bottom, but who knows? So, but I didn't see much of anybody else, so I don't know. I know the Raiders are going to be bad. I think the Browns will be pretty good. And that's about it right now. I guess we'll find out more as it progresses. But what you learn in the preseason isn't a lot.
I mean, the only thing that I'm really going to say about the Browns right now, and I'll think on it more, I guess, when we do our preview show. But right now, I think that I'm confident in saying that I think the Browns will sweep their division.
Yeah, that's tough to do.
I don't know about sweep.
Yeah, that's tough to do even under the best circumstances.
I don't know. I really think this division outside of them is garbage.
I think the Ravens might be solid. It depends on Lamar Jackson and if he can, do more than just what they had him doing last year, which I think he can. The Steelers are just old. I mean, that's just, Roethlisberger's a year older.
And the Bengals, what's even happening with the Bengals?
Who's coaching them now?
Someone who bumped into Sean McVay once, I think.
Oh, all right. They saw each other across the street.
Zach Taylor, who was the quarterbacks coach for the Rams last year.
Wow.
Not a coordinator, but the quarterbacks coach.
Wow, man, that McVay thing, that's some magic stuff right there. People getting jobs just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The first question they ask in your interview, do you have any connection to Sean McVay? Yes, you're hired. Yeah. I don't know if Freddie Kitchens has any McVay connections or not. Probably. Seems like everybody does.
But, no. I don't know. I think, the Bengals, I I think the Bengals will be. I honestly think that they could be trending upward in a few years, just because they finally moved on from the Marvin Lewis era. So anything is a improvement, honestly.
Do they have any? What do they got? Andy Dalton at quarterback. They've got some decent talent, right?
Yeah, I mean they've. I mean, for a good while there, they were regularly making the playoffs. You know, playing the Texans.
Right. Yeah, it was like a bowl game
in the Houston Texans Saturday morning bowl game. So,
yeah.
So you know, I think for a new coach coming in after the disaster last year, I think they're probably going to still be bad. But in a couple years, assuming this guy isn't a bumbling idiot, they should be at least trending in the right direction. But like anything is an improvement over another year of Marvin Lewis.
Well, I think that you just get into such a rut with this because he's been there for a long time. I don't even know how long he was there. It's 15.
Marvin
20.
Lewis was there for. Let's look that up. Marvin.
I'm thinking at least 15 years, right?
Marvin Lewis was the head coach. Yes, 15 years.
Wow, is that exactly it?
2003 to 2018.
Nice guess on my part.
He's now a consultant with Arizona State. So
now here's the real question, the most important question: is Hue Jackson still part of the coaching staff there?
No,
I'd have to think not.
I'm waiting for Hue Jackson to be like. I'm waiting for the episode of Hard Knocks where John Gruden announces Hue Jackson as like his special advisor or something. Because the Hue Jackson John Gruden sideline. Could you imagine the brain power on display? The football genius.
I mean, if you remember after he was fired last year, he was special assistant to Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, special assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah.
No, his last. Yeah, I'm looking at Hue Jackson. I don't think he's currently with anyone. His last stated position on his Wikipedia page is Cincinnati Bengals 2018 special assistant to the head coach.
Right.
You guys know who Matthew Berry is, right? The fantasy guy for ESPN, fantasy football guy. Well, he put out a column. Anyway, long story short, he was talking about players he loves and hates for this year for fantasy football. And he talked about Baker Mayfield, and he was talking about how Mayfield did this and that and the other thing, and had a good season, blah blah blah. And at the end, he goes, "Can we fire Hue Jackson again? Because I'm still so pissed off at the fact they wouldn't let Mayfield play for like the first however many weeks it was." I thought, geez, even the fantasy football guys like we needed to get rid of this guy.
Oh God. This story from 4 days ago from newsherald.com. I don't know what that is, but this guy Jeff Shudell wrote an article. Thank Hue Jackson for Mayfield Higgins chemistry in Browns offense.
Huh?
Yeah.
I have this article from July. Some Charlotte radio station did an interview with Hue Jackson, asking him if he thinks he can still be a head coach in the NFL. Jackson's response, "Oh yeah, I mean, I think I can. I mean, just because the situation in Cleveland didn't work out doesn't mean you can't coach. There's a lot of great coaches who came before me that coached there and went on and did great things. Sometimes the situation is different. I think if people dig in and really take the time to look at the overall situation there, maybe they would understand it more. At the same time, I understand what the narrative gets put out there. That's what people know. Hopefully people will think back to the times when I've put myself in that position. I had to be doing something right. To go back and be a coordinator again or be a head coach, I do believe it's in my future. I've just got to work through the process and see where it goes."
Dude, other coaches went on to success from the Browns. But they did something that you didn't. They actually won a few football games. What did he win?
Hue Jackson interviewed for the Cincinnati Bengals head coaching job and the Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator job. Did not get either.
No, would you hire him? I wouldn't.
No, well, because here's the thing, Hugh. Yes, it was a bad situation in Cleveland, so you obviously just didn't do well. Well, what happened as soon as you left? They started winning. What's the hype around the team?
Yeah.
That was your first job.
It's almost shocking.
Oakland.
it's almost shocking how much better the Browns got as soon as he was fired.
They went from basically the same team that went 0-16 the year before to all of a sudden they were a legitimate playoff team. And
they were in the hunt graphic.
But I mean they were good. It wasn't like they weren't one of those teams you go, boy, they're fun to watch. You know, they're probably not. I mean, they were good. They were legit good. And what was the key difference? It was him.
Which is why I think it was such a misstep to keep him on for another year, because you got to think if they had just fired him after the 0-16 season, like, who knows? Maybe this team could have gotten into a wild card slot.
Well,
I mean, they got better, obviously, once they fired Jackson, but there were a lot of waste games under his tenure. But,
that's what I'm saying. And I think, though, that he was, from what I understand, he was very good at saving his own ass. That's something he's known for. He will throw, and we saw it happen when he got fired. He threw everybody under the bus. None of it was his fault. It was everybody else's fault. And
right, even in the quote that I just read, it wasn't that he did a bad job.
No,
it's that he was in a bad situation.
Right, and if we knew the real situation, we'd see it
make
differently.
The situation not terrible anymore.
Yeah, no, dude, it was you. It was all you.
Who was it? Who was it again? Who took over as coach after Jackson was fired?
What's his name? Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator.
Okay, yeah.
Right,
okay. Greg Williams was probably in a worse situation than you were, Hugh, and he managed to get something out of this team.
Yeah.
But even the Browns didn't want to keep Greg Williams around because he's a nutcase.
Yeah.
All right, so Greg, you've earned yourself an interview for the head coaching job full time next year. What's your plan for the future for the Browns? So I'm thinking we put out bounties on everyone on the Steelers.
Right. Yeah, my only concern is that, Freddie Kitchens went from a guy you'd never heard of to the head coach. That concerns me a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that is the big question mark. I mean, Greg Williams, again, you could say, he's a nut job. But at the same time, I kind of feel like they kind of had a rhythm under him, and maybe you didn't want to mess with that.
That's kind of what I thought.
So,
I thought he earned a shot. Excuse me. I'm in the middle of eating.
No worries.
I thought he earned at least a shot at one season, but I also understand the reasoning for wanting to just go with the guy that seemed to really have his finger on the pulse of the team in Freddie Kitchens, and that's what they did. So I'm fine with it. All I know, and you guys, and anybody that listens to the show, anybody that is friends with me on Facebook, anybody that followed me on Twitter, anybody on the boards knew I had one objective last year: get rid of fucking Hue Jackson, and that's all I cared about. And once they did that, okay, we'll see where it goes from here. So we'll see where it goes from here. I think they're going to be pretty good. I'm not quite sold on Super Bowl contender yet because I don't know of a second-year quarterback that's ever done that. Maybe it has happened. And my biggest concern is Baker Mayfield's number. No quarterback wearing number 6 has ever won the Super Bowl. Never. It's never happened.
Oh, well.
Well, think about this for a minute.
Somebody find him a 7.
No, the number he wants is 12. Do you know how many guys, how many fucking Super Bowls? I don't know, but do you know how many fucking Super Bowls have been won by a quarterback wearing number 12? You got Namath, Greasy twice, that's 3. Bradshaw with 4, 7. And then Brady 6 more is 13. Okay, and I'm sure there's a couple other guys in there that I can't remember. Roger Staubach won 2, I think. Number 12. That's the number you want. Not 6. You want 12. Or 16 is pretty good, too.
What about Joe Flacco? He won a Super Bowl.
He was number 5, though.
Yeah, well, maybe he should be 5. Because if there's a guy that I want, it's an elite quarterback.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield's not elite. There's really not any elite quarterbacks.
I mean, the elite Joe Flacco, who at the age of 34 is just entering his prime.
Yeah.
According to John Elway.
So
that'll be fun.
And we've all seen what Elway's done in Denver. It's been a marvelous job.
He made a wish on that monkey's paw. He got Peyton Manning, and then after that was over, it's been time to pay up.
I still can't believe that team with that version of Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl. That's amazing to me. I mean, that defense was really good. That's all that I can
They had an amazing defense. I mean, Peyton Manning stood there and played football well enough to not fuck it up, and there you go.
Hey, these uniforms are lame, man.
Okay, so last week we talked about the Auburn Tigers never change anything, and, well,
the Auburn Tigers changed their logo. Zach and I were talking about it off air, and we are kind of in agreement that who decided this needed to be a thing that changed?
yeah.
So, to quickly describe it for the folks at home, in the past, from 1966 to 2019, the Auburn Tigers have used their logo has been blue letters outlined in orange with a blue A on top of a blue U. The new logo is blue letters outlined in orange with a blue A over a blue U.
Right. The difference.
Oh, wait, that didn't sound different? The difference is the U used to extend a little higher, so there was like this awkward, quote-unquote, negative space in between the serifs of the U and the frame of the A. And so they thought that was
by that.
Well, again, in the quotes that they put in here, Auburn updated its visual identity system to make it more compatible with the many ways, especially digital, in which it is now used to help us further elevate the Auburn brand. So, from what it sounds like in the ways that they're already using it, it's on like small applications on like an app. So I guess that they think that by having those little weird notches in there, it somehow amounts to what would be an extra outline and muddies it from a distance. Whereas, like, I don't know, man. I don't see the difference. I think if you're an Auburn fan, you know what the hell the A over the U means. I think if you're a college sports person, you know what AU is.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm not just saying this because I like all things old school, but frankly, the old way looks better.
Oh, yeah.
The U is kind of squat and weird looking now.
Well, technically, the U is now the same size as the A.
Okay, well, that's fine and dandy, but the old way looks better. Sorry.
Yeah.
And those two little white triangles, I mean, I see what they were going for here. I get it. But no, this was one of those changes that just did not need to be done. And all the years on the boards, I've never heard anybody even mention this. Never once.
And this is a community that nitpicks the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
And no one ever was like, the Auburn logo.
God.
Apparently,
I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just the old one's better. That's all.
According to the website of the mothership, or the article here on the mothership, Auburn tried to change the logo back in '95. I don't know what to, but they scrapped it after fan backlash.
It was the '90s, so it was probably a tiger wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, and the logo looks spray painted or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the new one it looks weird because we're not used to it, but it's.
It looks too squat.
Right, exactly. It doesn't look as dignified. If that's, maybe I'm putting a little more importance on this than I need to, but it doesn't. It just looks kind of strange. It looks squat and kind of odd. And
I'm wondering who thought this needed to happen. Like, was this something people wanted? There's already a petition on change.org to stop it from happening.
Good.
It's got 10,394. We're up to 396 people. We're climbing. We're climbing. Are we going to hit 10,000? We have passed the 10,400 mark. Okay.
Well, I agree with you, Greg, that it just also doesn't look good. Like, yeah. I was telling Mike, I was kind of breaking down my initial thought, when you were off for a second. But it's like, I can't tell what is going on with the U now. Like, what happens to the serif? Is it still there? Is the U just the horse where the serifs are only on the outside? What is going on with the U now? I don't know. It's covered up by the A.
It doesn't look as good. It's as simple as that. You needed, and I get it. From working with small stuff, I understand that those two little spots are going to be maybe tricky, but it needs
Yeah.
It doesn't. It needs room to breathe. It doesn't have any room to breathe the way they have it right now. If that's the best way I can describe it, it becomes something that it's not. It doesn't represent correctly now. It just looks weird.
The top of you looks weirder now than it did with the notches.
Yeah, and it just did not need to be done under any circumstances. It was not necessary, and those are the worst kind of changes. Worst kind.
I'm now going. I mean, now I have an obligation because people in my family know I'm like a logo person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now, if my sister gets me an Auburn thing with like the new logo on it, like I'm going to be like, no, I don't know. This is unacceptable, and I'm going to make a scene demanding the old one.
Well, I'm signing the petition. I don't know about you guys. I'm absolutely signing that petition. You better believe it.
This isn't even the only classic monogram that's changed recently.
Mm-hmm.
If you've followed the mothership, you've also seen the St. Louis Cardinals have slightly adjusted their STL.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, but they did it the right way because that's how they do things.
Well, yes, they did it. Thoughtfully and correctly.
They did thoughtfully and correctly. Probably had input from the Bosnian community in St. Louis. So,
and I mean, like looking at them side by side, you can tell that there's a difference. But I don't think it was improved, or it wasn't improved, but it also wasn't downgraded in any way. It was
completely unnecessary. Absolutely no reason in the world to do it.
No reason to do it because it looked fine before. It looks fine now. Like, is it supposed to be more historically accurate or something?
Apparently it is. Apparently it is supposed to represent the way that it looked back in like the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say it again, but I like the old one better.
I don't know. I think they're both fine. Like this again is one of those things that if our community of particular geeks didn't exist,
no one would know.
This would go completely unnoticed.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I think even a normal person could see, there's something different about the Auburn logo. But if you put Cardinals fans, the most diehard of the best fans of baseball, in a room, and like gave them two different hats, or gave them the new hat, and said, "Hey, do you like the new logo?" And they'd be like, "Oh, this is new. I don't really care for it much." And then you took it away and said, "Okay, well, here's the old one," and just gave them the new hat again. They would say, "Oh yeah, this is still good."
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you, and I am one of those geeks. I looked at them and going, "Okay, which one's the new one? And which one's the old one?" That's so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, for those that aren't at home, the old one has a little bit more angular.
Yeah, a little pointier, a little more angular. Yeah.
The T is slightly more to the right on the middle of the S, and now the edges are all a little bit more rounded. The T has been moved to the middle of that space there in the center.
Bring back the St. Louis Browns.
Well, this, I mean, again, a completely unnecessary change, but not a bad one. I mean, I don't know that. Actually, looking, I kind of like the new one better a little bit. It is a little bit more uniform, which I guess is what they were going for. I suppose.
We've got Greg's evolving opinion live on the show.
Exactly. So. You're watching me do what I always do, which is look at something and go, I don't like it, and then go, well, wait a minute, let's think this through. But either one would be fine with me. I'm okay with either one. I'm not going to lose any sleep if they switch back to the old one, and I'm not going to lose any sleep if they keep this one. Fine, whatever. Just don't mess with the uniforms. That's all I ask.
Yeah. While we're talking about baseball uniforms, there's two bigger ones that are just not great going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we have the Players Weekend in MLB, where normally the teams wear Little League-inspired uniforms, where they're bright colors and pullovers, and
it's every bit as
personality of baseball.
And it's every bit as stupid as it sounds.
Yeah, and everybody's wearing nicknames on the back of their jerseys. And hey, this year people are, instead of just words and letters, they've been using emojis. So that's new.
Hey.
So like if your name is Bell, you could use the Bell emoji.
Oh.
It only works for a few players. Not everybody gets to do it. Other people have nicknames you never heard of, and then other ones are hockey nicknames where you just had a Y. But obviously, the biggest change is that they're doing away with the Little League style bright colors, and every team will be wearing head to toe black or head to toe white.
God.
The idea was supposed to be, because it's Players Weekend, that's when they get to wear their ridiculous cleats or bright gloves or random armbands or socks and whatever the hell you want. And so the stark black and white jerseys will showcase the accessories and the personality of the player more than the other jerseys did.
All right, I'm going to step in for a second here. If you go watch the New York Yankees and you're a Yankees fan, and they step out of the field in solid black uniforms, are you going to even notice what fucking wristband somebody's wearing or batting glove or cleats? No. All your focus is going to go on these stupid-ass uniforms. I don't care what they say. That's what's going to happen, period.
Particularly with the Yankees, the thing that got me pissed about this in particular, it's going to look bad on everybody, but this weekend is one of the few, these matchups don't happen often, but the Yankees are playing in L.A., playing the Dodgers.
Yeah, a great, beautiful uniform matchup under normal circumstances.
So before the season, you're a big Yankee fan, you're a big Dodger fan, and you say, oh, the Yankees are going to play the Dodgers. A classic baseball matchup if there ever was one. And if I'm going to go to one road game as a Yankee fan, or if I'm a Dodger fan and I want to see an American League team, that's the game I want to go see. Because not only is it classic baseball, but
and
both really good teams this year.
This year it's probably a matchup of the two best teams in baseball, or at least two of the best teams in baseball. Yeah.
So you think, oh, I'm going to get to see the Dodgers in those clean white with the blue, and the Yankees, they won't be wearing the pinstripes, but they'll be wearing the classic grays with the blue cap with the NY, and wow, baseball at its best. And then you show up on Saturday afternoon, and the Dodgers are in all white like a Backstreet Boys video, and the Yankees are in head-to-toe black uniforms. You're going to say, what the hell happened?
What the fuck is this? Give me my grub tub.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right. Get the grub tub. Forget this shit. But that's what I'm saying. No one's going to notice the stuff they're trying to emphasize here because of these ridiculous uniforms. That's the point. If any team that's wearing solid black head to toe is both really either side. All white's going to do the same exact thing, but the black's really going to be where you're going to notice it.
Again, I'm asking who's going to buy these. I'm a Blue Jays fan. There is nothing appealing about that solid white Blue Jays uniform.
The solid white ones won't sell, but people will buy the black ones.
Probably, yeah.
And people will buy the black hats too. But my thing is, again, with the classic matchup like that sucks. And then additionally, if you're somebody that does happen to have, the extra innings package, and you want to flip around all the games, yes, you can see what's on the guide and who it is. Yes, you can see on the scoreboard who it is. But if you're just glancing through, you would have no idea who is playing who.
It's all just going to be black versus white.
And I actually have that package, and my first thought when I saw this is I will not be watching any baseball this weekend.
Now here's the thing. This entire premise for uniforms is undone by the fact that the pitchers on the white teams will have to wear black hats.
Yeah, because of the
ball.
Yeah, the ball and all that. Yeah, right.
Oh, is that for real?
Yeah. It's right here in the article. Pitchers on Team White will be wearing a black cap for their uniform to avoid issues with hitters seeing the ball.
Right.
You're the only position player on either side to wear a different cap.
Yeah, because pitchers they're not allowed to wear wristbands or anything at all. Yeah.
That makes it worse.
Oh, dude, I mean, it makes it. Yeah, it takes something that's entirely fucking ridiculous and makes it 10% more ridiculous. Yeah. This is
they couldn't even spring for a white belt on the all white uniforms. Come on.
Well, you don't want to clash, or I don't know. The white. I don't know which one's going to look more stupid. I think the all white or the all. It's probably going to be a little dumber looking. Yeah, right.
You know what? I never thought I'd say this, but I miss George Steinbrenner.
Well,
could you imagine if the Yankees, if George Steinbrenner was alive, and we're going to do this league-wide initiative, and the Yankees just show up in pinstripes?
He would, to his credit, he would probably tell them, "Fuck off, we're not doing it." Period. I mean, like the Packers did with one of the uniform changes. The Nike, they're like, "No, we're not doing this."
Yeah.
Right.
No, sorry.
It's like the turn ahead the clock uniforms. Everyone wore futuristic uniforms, and the Yankees refused to do it. And some reporter asked George Steinbrenner, like, "Why aren't the Yankees wearing their futuristic uniforms?" He just said, "We are."
Yeah, because I promise you, if you come back in 100 years and baseball's still here, that's what they're going to be wearing. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you're right. I agree. I think Steinbrenner would have said, "We are absolutely not going to do this." End story.
Mm-hmm.
And
I never thought I'd miss George Steinbrenner, but here we are.
Yeah. And the Dodgers should be the same way. I don't know who.
No, the Dodgers should be we're the Los Angeles Dodgers. We have one of the most iconic uniforms in baseball. No,
the argument should always be, especially in baseball, if you can't improve what we're already wearing, then leave it alone. And I can only think of one team where you could go, okay, we can almost guarantee we can do better, and that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. After that, it's a debate, you know? You can't necessarily – I don't know that there's really a truly bad uniform in baseball other than that one.
I just love the fact that pitchers on the white teams have to wear black hats. It's like the entire premise is broken. The fundamental premise for the uniforms doesn't work, so they have to make stupid exceptions right out the gate.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that somebody got paid to come up with this idea.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is something we'd come up with as a joke. Like, we'd say, okay, let's come up with some stupid shit they could do, and we go, how about this? And that's what we would come up with.
By the way, the some of these nicknames for Players Weekend are dumb. Like, okay, I'm looking at the Toronto Blue Jays 2019 Players Weekend uniform nicknames. Bo Bichette. His nickname's just Bo. It's literally his first name. Come on, man.
I'm assuming Bo Bichette is Dante Bichette's son, right?
I don't know,
because I know that they've got Vlad Guerrero.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, and I think Bichette's another one. I think his dad was Dante Bichette, who's not near the player that the original Vladimir Guerrero was, but it's not a bad player. But yeah, this is just so stupid. I mean, why even do this? Why even bother?
Well, there are two teams that will be wearing Little League uniforms. The Cubs and Pirates are playing the Little League Classic in Williamsport.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The Berg?
Pittsburgh will be wearing uniforms that say the Berg, and the Cubs will be wearing uniforms that say Cubbies.
All right.
So can we add the Berg to the land, the north, the district,
the bay?
If we don't, we're not doing our jobs. We are absolutely a derelict in duty if we do not add it. My argument with this, okay, I think we said this last year when this happened. If I'm in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and it's going to be a Major League Baseball game, and the Cubs and the Pirates show up, I want to see on the field the Cubs and the Pirates wearing Cubs and Pirates uniforms, not this shit. I want to see I want to see a real Major League team out there. I mean, I don't get why they do this.
Yeah. I get it.
And never in my entire Little League career did I ever wear a uniform that fucking ugly. Ever.
No, when I played Little League, we wore what were essentially most teams' like batting practice uniforms.
Right.
Like I was the Yankees one year, and it was a blue T-shirt essentially with the collar had like one or two buttons, like a polo shirt would,
mm-hmm.
and it just had the white NY on the upper left of the chest. It wasn't a Yankee uniform, but I know that's what they wore in batting practice, and that's just what we wore. When I was the Rangers, it was a blue T-shirt that just said Rangers and red letters across the front. Like
we had sponsors, but we had. Well, God, my first 2 years we actually had button-up jerseys, which was kind of cool. Oh. And then after that, we went to basically like mesh pullovers. They were still pretty nice, but with just the sponsor's name on them, but never anything this dumb. They were like solid color, it was the 70s, so a lot of people were going with like the solid, like green and, colors because the A's and that was like a style then, but nothing like this stupid. And then when I played softball, we had like mesh jerseys, and yeah, it was I don't know. God, the whole thing is just it's just gotten so ridiculous. It's just absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, if I'm in Williamsport, I want to see real Major League uniforms. I don't want to see this.
Well, speaking of playing these games in odd places, though, the baseball did announce something that I think is kind of neat.
The Field of Dreams game?
The Field of Dreams game.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That will be cool.
Yankees and Red Sox, or Yankees and White Sox. They'll be playing at the Field of Dreams where they had the the movie, The Field of Dreams.
Yeah, they're installing 10,000 temporary seats for the game and putting a fence up, I guess, where they're going to do some stuff to the field, but it's going to basically be in the same spot, which will be kind of cool. I kind of wish they'd just let the field alone and let them play it the way it lays. You know what I mean? But I'm sure
people have also been pointing out the kind of the similarities to Interstellar. If anyone saw that.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What's
well, no, because in Interstellar, the whole kind of thing is that society's kind of like it's kind of in the process of breaking down, right at the beginning. So there's a scene.
Oh, right, yeah,
where like the New York Yankees are playing like against some team out from like the middle of a cornfield because like that's just
and like these are like baseball is nothing like it used to be, and I remember that now.
Yeah, it's like the Yankees are still around, but they're playing some team from like Iowa or some shit. So it's like so people have been pointing out to that as a similarity. So yeah.
What did you think of Interstellar?
I thought it was good until the end.
Yeah, me too. And then we got to the Tesseract or whatever the hell it was, and I'm like, okay, you went a long way just to go, basically it's a time travel movie, because that's basically what it boiled down to. Mm-hmm. And but it was cool up to that point. Same with, what was it, The Martian. Loved it until the end. And then it went from like smart, thoughtful, sciencey movie to action movie. Bang, just like that. I was like, oh.
Smart and thoughtful. It was the funniest movie of the year.
Oh, that too. But
according to the Golden Globes, at least.
Oh, that's right. Was it nominated as a comedy or something?
It won Best Comedy. Yeah, comedy.
It was kind of funny, I suppose. But
he grew plants in poop. So
yeah,
I guess that's funny. But
yeah, that's kind of a one-trick pony of a joke, though. But yeah. But yeah, I don't know about this uniform stuff, man. I mean, like I said, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think it begins and ends with us. We started this shit, and our little lab experiment has gotten completely out of control. That's what happened here. We were just, the concept threads, and I know people look at that stuff. They have to. There's just no way that a site as big as Chris Creamer's Sports Logos community has gotten, that the people that are in the business aren't watching what we do and paying attention. They have to be, because there's what do we got, like 30,000 members now, something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, and if there's a uniform thing, Chris gets quoted now. He gets asked about stuff. So yeah, they're paying attention. So we started out as the people that, well, on the rare time, because if you remember when we first got into this, uniform changes weren't near as common as they are now.
No.
It didn't happen that. I mean, it was big news, and that's why we all ended up there, because we wanted a place where we could go to find out when something happened. Now you can't keep up with all of it. And that's the change that's happened in the...
Well, no, now, like, we should probably not even try to cover, like, every college football uniform change. It's too much.
Well, that was the problem we ran into with the logo cast. It got to be too much. It was just like, we can't keep up. We cannot keep up with it all.
Well, like, hell, when we were talking about that, I was going to slightly bring up, like, all these college uniform changes, but none of them are interesting, and everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Like... Because it's the 150th season of college football, every fucking team that can afford it is pulling out some sort of throwback uniform. Some of them were even making up throwback uniforms, or like literally, like Northwestern and Wisconsin are wearing faux backs for the game they're going to play.
Oh boy!
Boston College is throwing back to 1984.
Those are good-looking uniforms.
Back to 1998.
Notre Dame is hilarious because they're putting on fake mesh numbers.
Well, theirs is hilarious too, because like that's what Notre Dame was wearing like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean it's slightly different now, but again, the average fan would not really know much of a difference between 98 and today. They might go, "Oh, the helmet's a little shinier." And, the pants might be a little different, but for the most part, it's not a whole lot different. I mean,
except for the fake mesh numbers they've applied.
Oh, my God.
Have you seen?
I haven't seen, no, but I thought they'd just go with mesh jerseys and be done with it.
No, you'd think they just go with mesh jerseys, but
no.
Jesus.
But no.
Well, that's
God.
why I think Boston College is doing it wrong, because somebody just needs to walk out in a Doug Flutie jersey and be done with it.
Like, just look at that link, Greg.
For Pete's sake. Really?
Right?
So here's what we've done, okay? We're wearing what's basically a mesh jersey, it looks like, on the front, all right? And we've taken and we're going to tack on the applied numbers, we're going to make them look like mesh. Wouldn't screen printing then have been a little bit faster and easier? I'm just saying. Wow.
Great.
God.
But again, like, besides the number, which nobody will be able to see unless you're standing in front of them, Notre Dame was literally wearing these jerseys like 5 years ago.
Well, not only that, but when they wore the mesh jerseys back then, they like put so much ink on. You didn't see the mesh holes all the time. Maybe here and there, but for the most part, it was like blotted on so much you couldn't even. It was like painted on, yeah.
And it's not like this throwback concept is all that great. Look at what Adidas has done in the NHL. Since they've changed over, there are teams that literally have the perforation in the numbers because it makes them faster or breathe easier or whatever.
Look, we need that extra 0.05% speed if we're going to win the cup this year, all right? Come on.
No, dude, you know that's not right. Come on. As the Raiders have shown and the Rams last year, you just have to want it. That's all. It's as simple as that. I mean, come on. Gruden discovered the secret to the universe. Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, I've got one more. It's not uniform related necessarily, but it's every bit as stupid. My Ohio State University is trying to get a trademark on the word "the."
I saw that.
So yeah, there you got that too.
What?
Yeah.
Or sorry, Greg, it's not the word "the."
Or the.
It's "the."
Yeah, right. They're trying to trademark
It's the same word.
I know. They're trying
It's literally the same word.
They're trying to trademark the word "the." That's what they're trying to do. And I thought, well, I was like, what's the point? First off, I don't get it. Is it to stop the players on Sunday Night Football from going like the Florida State University? Because that's not going to work. I don't understand it.
Guys,
what's the reasoning behind it? Does anybody know?
You're listening to basically a sports show.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just thought, wow, I even put on Facebook, I put a link up. I said, can't imagine we're going to catch much flack over this. Because, boy, is that stupid.
Yeah.
But
no.
That's my Ohio State University. Let me find the article really quick and see if there's any logic behind this at all.
While you're looking for it, the other uniform thing that we needed to talk about.
The Edmonton Oilers.
The Edmonton Oilers. Their third jersey has leaked. Third jersey for this upcoming season leaked, and,
it's a T-shirt.
It's navy blue and orange, and that's it.
Why? Oilers.
Yeah.
Why?
It's drab. It's gross. I don't know.
Didn't they go back? Aren't they back to... Well, I know they have orange now as the primary home. But... Or road, excuse me.
They were back to the Gretzky look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the original blue?
Yeah.
They did.
Okay.
And then when Adidas came in, they made the orange the primary. And then when they made the orange the primary, they changed to navy blue again.
And then now this is a new navy blue jersey, which is just awful. Like, why?
Well, like I said, the first look, it looks like a T-shirt.
It just...
It's a fashion jersey that somebody wanted to make an entire uniform out of.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's exactly what it is. Like, if you made a whole line of these jerseys where it was simple two-color looks for everybody that didn't already have it, like if you just made a Ducks jersey that was orange and black, or you just made a Flyers jersey that was orange and black, or you just made Dallas Stars jersey that's green and black, or on down the line.
Right. Yeah.
That's what these would be. And I mean, there's nothing Edmonton Oilers about this except for the fact that it says it on the front.
Yeah, these aren't great at all. I mean, it's just like I said, I always go to this. It's my default position, but it's a broke ass Walmart jersey. It's what you put out when you can't use the actual.
Well, like look at the stripes.
Yeah, when you can't do the actual, when you can't do an actual replica, but you still want to sell Oilers gear, this is what you do. It's simple.
I don't get this trend because we've seen it before. Like the Canucks' new alternate has just like the plain green stripes on blue. Like, why are we going away from white and striping? Like,
who even knows at this point?
It just seems
it's all a style thing, and it doesn't translate well to a hockey uniform. Just simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if anything, this is a good like you could put a Bears logo on the front of it and say it's a good, like they sell those crossover jerseys in all these sports.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you wanted to buy a Chicago Bears hockey jersey, this is what it would look like. And it's like, yeah, sure.
God.
But it's just leaked. It hasn't been officially released, but I think everybody's confirmed it.
I mean, that's an awful lot of work to go to for a jersey that's not going to happen. You know, I mean, my reason for saying that was just like there is no Adidas speak to go over quite yet.
Yeah, we don't have corporate talk to.
No,
because that'll make it better.
Blue represents the deep blue skies of the Alberta Knights,
and the lack of white represents the diversity of Edmonton and the lack of white supremacy.
The orange remains unchanged.
No, orange always represents the hardworking people of Cleveland.
The dog pound.
Right, exactly. No matter where you use it. It always represents that. Oh, just the stitching, though, not the actual color.
Oh, God. This is terrible.
Yeah, well, anyway. God.
By the way, I still love the fact that the contrasting stitching on the Browns uniforms is actually, like,
an issue.
Like, it's like the players are like, it catches on our pads. Like, it's a real hassle.
Not one thing about that uniform change went right. Not one thing. Nothing.
It is fitting that, like, the 0-16 Cleveland Browns did it in those uniforms. Like, that's nice. That's fitting.
Yeah. I just wish, you know what we're going to get when they come back, and we'll close the show on this. When they come back with the traditional uniforms, it's just going to be the old uniforms with the proprietary font. That's all it's going to be. But that'll be the main difference because we can't just have the block font like we used to. So we'll have a proprietary font.
They're also, like, I think that they might also change the striping a bit. Like, even though they have all but admitted that, like, the change was a mistake, they won't just go back because, God forbid, we just go back to an old uniform.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Lions did. They came back with essentially what were the uniforms in the late 60s, early 70s without the white highlights, but they had the proprietary font, and that's about it. And that's what the Browns are going to get. What are probably going to be really nice uniforms with a really fucking stupid looking number on them. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been done plenty. Like hell, just look at every team that's changed. Look at the Dolphins. Look at the Vikings. Look at the. Because I think the Rams will have the same thing. I'm sure when they
like those Vikings uniforms, I think would be 20% better with just normal numbers on them.
Yeah.
You know, they're a little too far. Some teams, I think Jacksonville. No, I think of Jacksonville. Their numbers okay. I don't remember. They're so simple. It's
Jacksonville. You can go too far. But they're not straight block. They are altered in such a way that they are Jaguar specific.
Right. Hopefully the Browns can do that, but I have a feeling we're going to get more along the lines of what the Lions have, or not the Vikings necessarily, like looking like the Vikings, but something that's so obviously not what it used to be, and that's what I'm afraid of. All right, folks, on that note, we're going to call it a week. We'll be back with more, basically a sports show next week, more Raiders football, of course, and all the other good stuff. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports, subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time.
Laters.
Adios.
This has been a Filmways presentation, darling.